Yeah, that's good.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hanging Out with Temi. I'm Heidi Solomon, and I have Liz Greatness here with me. Miss Temi Ajayi, she's not here. Wedding and Med invite. We weren't invited.
Can you believe it? I mean, who does that?
I
You go to a
know.
wedding,
I
you don't
know.
bring your buddies along. I mean, seriously? Okay.
Exactly. Why aren't we invited, Liz? That's a big question.
I,
You know,
I,
it's
I, I need answers to that one. Definitely. I mean, the last time I checked, we were like handbags to each, to each of us. But all of a sudden, we don't start
I don't.
grade anymore.
Yeah, I don't know who's getting married. Is it Temi's friend's son or something like that?
I have no idea.
I saw a video this morning with Temi in it, and she was saying that it's her friend's son getting married. So that's
Oh,
amazing, that's so good.
yeah,
So
that's true.
congratulations to the beautiful man and the beautiful bride. And
Yeah.
what a great lead way to our topic today, talking about one of the aspects of Adam and Eve, and how amazing is it, the unity of men and women together, and what we can actually are able to create, and what are the endless possibilities of what is it that we can achieve as well. So congratulations, and Temi, we wish you all the best, and we wish you to have fun, and to dance all night long. And I'm not doubting that for a second. I
Yeah.
know that you're a beautiful lady who knows how to have fun, so well done.
Yeah, she's gonna have so much fun. Yeah, and definitely many happy returns for the couple.
Yes. Liz, how are you going? How was your week?
It has been well. I've got a book launch coming up that I'm working on. I'm organizing a book launch for somebody, which is also my first event. So
Nice.
yeah, been exciting, looking around for venues and having those conversations in terms of, the catering and the numbers and, the decor and all that comes with it. So yeah, feels like I'm definitely getting into my element slowly.
How exciting. So good.
Very exciting, I must say. Very, very exciting. Yeah.
Wow, that is so good. And when does this happen?
The book launch is happening on the 2nd of July. So yeah, I'm just finalizing a few details and then eventually get into, the look and feel of the organizations. I mean, not the organizations of the launch of the event, as a matter of fact. If we've got the venue and the date locked in, then I can comfortably work on the rest of the stuff that need to fall into place. So yeah, that's basically what I'm looking at.
Awesome. That is so good. Well done. Good on you. And are
Thank
you
you.
looking to have these more of these events happening?
Yeah. If you've got your daughter's birthdays and all that, please just call me and you can just go and relax.
That's so good. Well done. So everyone,
Anything
our
you want,
viewers,
just call
yes.
me. Yeah, I'll take care of it, and you just go sit and relax. You just need to call me and say how are things going. Log in with me just for a checkup. But otherwise, you're gonna have it all sorted out.
Awesome. How good is that? Well done.
Yeah,
That is
beautiful.
so
How
good.
about you? How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. I had an intensive with a client this week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was away in an intensive. So I usually do that with some clients. I'll be with them for 3 days, where I do just like one-to-one coaching, but really concentrated, where we are together for many hours during the day, and then that makes the following weeks of coaching a lot easier, because the hard work and all the information has been
Yeah,
downloaded, and it's yeah, it makes sense that when people want faster results, that they do that. So I'm glad that I got this opportunity with now few clients actually. I had few clients book intensives in the past couple of months, so that was really good. I'm really appreciating this time and very grateful for the the opportunities. So it's awesome. I'm really happy for that. So, and then
yeah,
back to normal scheduling and everything. So that's been my week. Great.
yeah. That's good. That's good. How do you recoup after an intensive?
Um, I usually just like I do meditations every day anyway, but I
Okay.
usually do grounding. I ground a lot, physical grounding, psychological grounding, energetic grounding. There's so many different
Yeah,
ways that I ground. And the really good part about doing something you're passionate about is that you don't really feel like you're working.
yeah. True.
Comes out natural. Like, yeah, I'm
Mm,
just sharing my truth. you know I'm just here sharing my truth, and then people are
yeah,
transformed.
yeah, yeah. And
It's
that in itself is so recouping, if I can put it that
yeah.
way. Looking at the
Yeah,
person coming in, being so down and, deflated and working out, so optimistic and excited about the next moment, that in itself is really already so lifting. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, that is so true. That is so true. It comes out naturally, like the
Mm,
masculine and the feminine that we were been talking about. Something inside me that is just able to come out naturally. I'm not putting any effort for it to come
yeah.
out. It's just there. I'm sharing
Mm,
my truth, and then things happen in front of me, and then I'm going, okay, great, blessings, and
yeah.
next. So it's nice. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go on a quick break, and we'll be back to talk about today's topic. Welcome back to Hanging Out with Temi, and today's topic is still Adam and Eve. We are going to have probably someone that we're going to interview next week. I can't reveal who this person is yet, because she hasn't confirmed. She was supposed to actually come today, and she was alright for today, but Temi couldn't make it, so that's going to be next week. So we're gonna wait for that, and we'll reveal the person for next week. And for today, I wanted to explore with you, Liz, the idea of women and men socially, in terms of social scenarios. Why or how is it that women are usually addressed Mrs. and then they call her husband's name? Why? Where did this come from? Do you have any idea?
Some of these are cultural practices and some of these are professional practices. So certain languages allow for certain professional way of addressing people. So it's really not only Mrs. I had a profound difficulty when I was working in council to call the mayor his worship. I'm like, really? It wasn't sitting right with me. So certain roles and portfolios do come with, certain citations that we have to use. And
Yeah.
obviously, as I mentioned, culture also plays a very profound role. So in some cultures, if you get married, you take up your husband's last name, and that then becomes, I mean, you'll probably hear in some weddings when they introduce the couple, it becomes Mrs. and Mr. and Mrs., and then it goes to the last name of the man. You know what I mean? So where that came from between the two of us, honestly speaking, we are so young for knowing exactly how it came about. We came and found that practice there, but from the little bit of research that I've done, you know, as I said, certain aspects of where we are has been passed on culturally and through the use of, you know, language. Because, I mean, for instance, in English, that's how you distinguish, you know, who is married and who is not. You know, what is it? Mrs. Whoever is married, and Miss whoever is, you know, unmarried. She's a single lady. So, and then that's how we got introduced to the language. So yeah, I guess that's where, as far as my knowledge can carry me on this one. What do you think?
I was really surprised when I came to Australia and I found this happening here. I had no awareness because back home in Egypt, that's not a thing.
Oh, really?
That is not a
No,
thing.
it's definitely a practice where I come from. Definitely.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
No, in Egypt, that's not a thing. You have your dad's name till you die. This is, you know, this is who you are. Why is a man, you know, that is going to marry you, is going to define you or give you his name? This is your name. You were born into this name. You die with this name. There's that, like when I came to Australia and I found people like my aunties, you know, my auntie, you know, for example, my auntie Teresa, her name is Teresa Antonios, and then with the marriage, you know, she was Teresa something else. And I was thinking, you know, what is that? What is that about? Why would someone take someone else's, and then what happens when they get divorced? They get divorced and then they go back to their parents' name.
If you want
Okay.
to. If you want to. That's a choice.
Oh really? So
I've
if you're married.
I've personally seen a transformation where the ladies have moved on to double barrel their last names. So they keep their last name, but add the husband's, you know. So that's the latest transition that I have noticed. But otherwise, definitely, when you get married, you take your husband's last name. You had to forfeit your own, but now the ladies are not forfeiting.
Yes, I see that. We just had a question. Why do you take your father's name, not your mother's name? For one reason that I know very well is that back in the olden days, everyone knows where this baby's mother is, but they don't know the father. The father is given, but the mother is there. Like you can't deny who the mother is. The mother is the person that had the baby. So everyone knows who the mother is. So the father is the one that needs to be identified. You see? Exactly. Funny, huh? So the father is someone who voluntarily says that they are the bearer of this child, the maker of this child. And this is why they carry the father's name, but not the mother's, because the mother is constant. Nothing is going to happen to the mother. She is the bearer of the child. She is the one that had the baby. Everyone knows. But the father is the one that voluntarily says, well, yes, this is my baby. So it's a claimed baby. You know, it's like, this is my baby. I have responsibility for this baby. I'm the father for this baby. And that's why we have our dad's names, not our mother's name. But yeah.
I wanted to say, you know, that's also one of those cultural practices, because some societies are patriarchal and others are not. So like in our society that is patriarchal, it definitely goes to, you know, when you have a child, it and if you are married, it takes the father's name because that's also your last name. But if you are not married and you have a child, it takes the mother's last name, for the very reason that you were saying, you know, it's the child was in the mother's womb, and she gives birth to the child, you know, more than ever. The husband, or I mean, not the husband, the boyfriend is probably not even around. So she's hassling alone for this child, and therefore, she takes the decision on her own in terms of what's going to happen here. And the child is born out of wedlock. It takes the mother's last name. That's also an issue of distinction. But if you are married and the child is born, it takes the father's last name. That's just how our society is structured. Where I come from, I don't necessarily know what's the structure here in Australia.
Yeah. Well, in Australia, you, in terms of wedlock, you carry the mother's name.
Oh.
Yes.
If you were married or if you were not?
No, if you're married, then there's no wedlock. But if you're married, you take your father's name normally.
Yeah.
But if you've got a child out of wedlock, then you
take your
mother's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
That is, that happens here in Australia. And they in the hospital, Liz, after you have the baby, they put you this thing here, like a band, badge, and then they write your name, and then they write Heidi, mother of baby Ellie, and then they write for Ellie, baby of Heidi. So they write it. Yeah, so I have one of those to do girls. It's like child of Heidi. So it's mine. This is my baby.
Yeah.
I had the baby before the father claims anything. It's my baby.
Yeah.
Interesting, huh? Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then you have later on in life the people that actually go and change their names, and then they don't want to take the father name, and then they want to take the mother's name for some reason. They didn't really have any relationship with the father, and they only have a relationship with the mother, then they take her surname. So people have this tendency to change names sometimes when they grow up.
I'm actually happy for that flexibility, because it kind of helps the families to keep the last names within the family so that it doesn't really die out. And it's not necessarily only your mother or your father's last name that people lean towards. Some people go as far as taking the grandpa's name or last name. Just adding that to the lineup. If Temi was here, I tell you, she would have told us a thing or two about names. They have names that sound like poems.
I know. I remember one day we had a show, and we had I can't remember what it was, but she was saying the names of the person's children, and she was going on and on and on, and I was going, what? This person had like 17 kids?
Yeah, no, it's a big thing in Temi's community, names. I don't know if it was, money, they would have been rich by the number of names they have. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's not, you know what I mean? But yeah, long story short, what I was saying is some people go as far as, taking the grandparents, either the name or the last name, just to bring it to the fore in the family so that it doesn't really die out.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, that's makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Yeah. Okay, we'll go on a quick break, and we'll be back to speak more about that. Welcome back to Hanging Out with Temi show, and we are still on the topic of Adam and Eve, and today we are discussing few different topics concerning Adam and Eve. The one point that I wanted to raise now and talk about is business and
Now,
money
Heidi,
making.
can I interrupt you there?
Yeah.
Um, I find it quite interesting that, you know, when it comes to Adam and Eve, that's all we know. It was just Adam and Eve. You know, there's no last name and middle name and things. What happened there?
Well, these were the start. They were, the first seed.
And there's no Mr. Adam, you know, Honorable Adam and, you know, Madam Eve. It was very simple. I mean, I
Yes,
think that was very good.
I know, I know. We're not saying exactly, you know what? I've never noticed. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I've never noticed that we're not calling Adam like sir and
So exactly.
your honor, or
His
Prophet Adam, or
Excellency.
yeah, exactly. It's just Adam and just Eve. Wow.
Yeah. And I think I like it. You know, it's just who you are and then you be. And based on that you know, gain your trust and your honor and respect. That would have been nice if we could have carried that through in this era.
I agree, Liz. I agree, yeah. And but the thing is as well, like when we talk about Moses, when we talk about David, when we talk about, Abraham, all of these amazing people, we never say
Yeah.
anything before the name, just Moses, Abraham. It's not there's no acronym before any of these names, just the name, like, because they are themselves. The word Abraham is fine on its own. It defines itself. It doesn't need another
Yeah.
definition to give it anything. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah. Mm.
Anyway,
That's
you go
that's
ahead to business.
yeah. So I wanted to raise the business point of view in terms of business and money making. Money making more than a career is what I want to point to. Um, are women as capable, in your opinion, obviously, because you're an entrepreneur, are women as capable as men in making money?
Um, I think because, you know, we are in to begin with, our role is supposed to be a supportive role. And against that background, I don't think it is as capable because whatever you do has to be monetized anyway. And that makes it inescapable unless somebody wants to take advantage of your skills. And I think even at a domestic front, if there is a business, you know, you need to be rewarded for the skills and the time that you put into the business because it's not home. Not that I'm downplaying what you do at home. I mean, if the two of you agree that, you know, for the cleaning of the house, I also need an extra 200 or whatever, because you may even want to bring somebody, you know, to come and do that. So
Mm,
that could be incorporated. But what I'm trying to say is there should be a distinction between what I'm doing for our domestic upkeep and what I'm doing for the business, if it is our business at home. You know what I mean? So that there should be a monetization for that. And even if you go solo, I think the reason why it is inescapable for me is for the very reason that we were talking about earlier, that, you know, women raise children alone. And if you can't monetize on, you know, your skills or find something that you go in business with, you wouldn't be able to put your children, you know, through the daily needs as well as, you know, through school and so on. So yeah, I think um, we can't escape it.
mm. Yeah, that's true. And how about in the list of the richest people in the world? Why is it that this list, the richest people in the world, self-made millionaires and billionaires, men, but not women? Is it because of the same reason, you think?
I have seen women. I don't know if I've seen a women's list, but I have seen women on some lists, of billionaires. So it's from my perspective, it's not only men that are on the lists, but I must admit there are more men than women who are, the top richest or so.
Yes, yes, and that's right. Oprah Winfrey is in that
Yeah,
list, and
yeah,
yes, she is she's self-made, 100%. The other
yeah, yeah.
person that is self-made as well, that I read the story, I read her story, Liz, like a couple of weeks ago. I was
Mhm.
fascinated. You know um, the dating app called Bumble. There is a
Yeah,
dating app called Bumble. So there is an owner for this, and it's a woman.
wow.
And yes, so she is a woman. What happened is that this woman, she was working in a group of people, and they were doing Tinder. So she was in that group, and then she was making that happen. And then she was at that time in a relationship with one of the people that were on the board, and for some reason things didn't go well, and then she started getting bullied and harassed from that person, obviously a male. And then she took off, and she left the business totally, and she did not, she didn't take the money that she deserved or something like that. Please don't quote me, I'm not very sure. And then she went and she started the app Bumble. And since then, she has been doing so well. She has been doing amazingly well. It's a dating app that is led by and that is controlled by women. So the woman is the one that goes, yes, I will swipe right, and then they swipe right. So she goes first. She is the first, and then she has control. She has total control. She is the one that is making these decisions, and that's why this app specifically is for women, made for women, designed for women, and only for women that are wanting
Hi,
that kind
woman.
of control. Yes, and
Yeah,
so the owner of this app, she is a self-made billionaire, obviously, and she says her story everywhere, and I think she was under the age of 30 or something like that when she was a billionaire already, and that's a good example of someone who
yeah,
is happy to give it a go, just give it a go.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And it starts with recognizing, what you enjoy and really stepping into that. Sometimes we disregard our little passions and we look for work. You go and study for the sake of getting a degree into something and disregarding your passion, which could be, carpentry or upholstery, becoming crafty and arty. You disregard that and you go into, becoming a doctor or whatever, and it gets short-lived. After some time, you realize I don't find myself in this thing as lucrative as it is, and people leave that and go back to simple life, making a simple existence and being so happy. So it makes me
Mm.
wonder what's really important in life at the end of the day. I don't know. We probably need to go into that a little bit one day.
Yeah, definitely. I like that very much. Actually, my coach one day, I'm gonna say this story. It's very relevant to what you just said. My coach
Mm-hmm.
one day said to me this story. So there was a businessman, someone who is works in Wall Street, and does a lot of economics and business and money and all of that. And this person once in a while, every couple of months, takes a day off, and he goes, switches his phone off and goes to do some fishing away from everything and everyone. He likes fishing, and that's why he just leaves everything behind and he goes fishing. So he was sitting there fishing, and then there was a man next to him fishing as well. So he looks at the man, and obviously the man was a fisherman. He this is what he does for work. So he looked at him and he said, "So how many fish do you catch a day?" So the man told him, I catch about, maximum between 5 and 10 fish. I take one home, and then I go and I sell the rest of the market, and I make the money, and I go and I buy my eggs and milk and bread and all of that, and that's it. Sometimes I make a lot of money, sometimes I don't, and every day it fluctuates like that according to the fish market. So the man from the Wall Street told him, well, if you're really good at what you're doing, then maybe you can, make some money, save some money aside, and then buy yourself a boat. Instead of fishing on a pier, you can just go in a boat. And then after you do that, instead of catching 10 fish, you catch, 50 kilos of fish. And then when you do, you take that and then you sell it. And then you keep going like that. You have a bigger boat, and then you don't do fishing anymore. You have other people, fishing for you. And then you just monitor the business, and you make money like that. And then you will be able to, every now and then do what you like and come back and fish if you like to fish. But you would not have to do that for life. And the man said, well, how's that different than what I'm doing now? I have enough to eat what I want, to live where I want, with the people that I want, and I'm happy doing what I'm doing. Why do I need to do all of that to get to that? So what you're saying is spot on, and this was a lesson for the businessman, or the guy that was talking to him, because it's a really a lesson for everyone. When it comes to life's priorities, what is really important? That is an important question. Yeah. So it's important that we identify what's important for us, and important that we know why we're doing what we're doing, for what purpose, and if it's going to bring us happiness and enjoyment and purpose, sense of purpose, then so be it. But if not, then that the question of why are we doing what we're doing. And today I actually remembered, May is the month of hanging out with Temi show. So this month we celebrate second year of being every year, every time here, every week, and talking and addressing all of these issues, and being together, and serving people in this very way that we are serving. So hopefully we'll be able to celebrate that very soon. And May is the month that we started this 2 years ago. So that's on purpose. We have started this, and we are still going for a reason.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So what do you think is missing in terms of bringing awareness to this topic of Adam and Eve? Have we covered everything, or is there anything that we would like to maybe talk about, think about, investigate more?
Well, I don't know. I'd like to know, what was the difference between creating an existence or creating a life, between those two in particular? What was Adam doing? What was Eve doing?
In the beginning?
Yeah.
Adam was put on earth. That's my understanding. Adam was put on earth to do things. Eve was put there to support Adam by creating what needs to be created for him to do. That's my understanding. He was made to do. So this is why, God said, Adam, you go and work. You go and earn your living. You go and do this. This is what you're here to do. You're here to do things. And Eve,
Mm-hmm.
you are here for a different purpose altogether. You're here to support. You're here to be there
Mm-hmm.
and create life. So this is what we're doing. We're creating life. Okay, for
Mm-hmm.
Adam to keep going in his doing. So these two roles, I feel they just complement each other in terms of, someone is doing all the work and someone is pointing to which direction we are going to do the work. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the head and the neck. Okay, so if we're going to imagine head is Adam, neck is Eve, the head can't go anywhere without the neck.
That's right.
So the neck is pointing the direction. The neck is telling where to look. This is where you need to focus. This is where you need to do this. This is where, let's go and do this together. But Eve doesn't do. Eve is creating the conditions for Adam to start doing the work. That's what I think. What do you think?
Well, I think you're right, but I shouldn't say but. I should say and. What do we make of families who don't have that head structure that still has to create the life and the conducive environment? I don't know. I'd like to think you're getting my question. I'm really
Yes.
limited in words to be able to express. Do they become less than? Do they, can we address that?
That's a great question. So you're asking the right person, because I do not have the head in my family, in my, in
Mhm.
my unit here. In terms of, there's no husband, there's no man to
Yeah.
do. So I am doing and creating and doing and creating and doing and creating. So that puts me out of balance. This is why, if I'm not conscious, Liz, if I'm not very conscious about what I'm doing and I'm very conscious about my own existence and my own being, then there is a
Hmm.
big issue.
Yeah.
And that's why there is so many women that are taking the role of the doing and the creating, and then they're getting very much, entangled with
Mm-hmm.
this whole situation. And this is why there is an imbalance of masculine and feminine. And this is why we have, children that are confused. A lot of children are now confused when they look at, well, my father is not being a father, a proper father, my mother is not being a proper mother, then the roles have switched and we're not sure what is happening. So homosexuality, bisexuality, and transgendering, all of these people, they come from broken families. I'm not going to say all, that's not accurate. Most of these
Yeah.
people, according to statistics, come from broken families where there isn't that identity specified and addressed. So they don't know what to do. They just go ahead and make their own filters and their own realities in their heads, and then they are in an issue where they're not sure of who they are.
So are we addressing that as a society, or are we advancing the the direction that, you know, the lack of a head is taking us?
Yeah. So in terms of the society has, at the moment, this is what we're studying. Okay, at the moment in categorical medicine, at the moment we have a lot of feminine men and a lot of masculine women. Okay, so we've switched roles. This is why we have a lot of feminine men right now. They're laid back. They're laid back. They just want, the woman to, because she's able. and capable, like we said before. So they want her to do more because she also can. This is the thing, the woman can. So they're going, well, you're strong enough, you're able, you're capable, go and do, go and create and do. You're able to have babies and have a full-time job and, you know, make money and contribute to the house and do all of that. And I'm going to go to work, help a little bit, and then I'll have a man flu whenever I want to. That's how it goes now.
I don't
Sadly.
know. Does that also allow for an understanding from God that women are also leaders? You know, we are now the head.
Yeah. So
and that we should also get the, you know, the blessing that comes with the headship, because I think we have the suffering that comes with that, but do we have the blessing? I don't know if I'm clear.
are we acting on our innate creation, or are we adopting something that is not ours? That's the question.
And does that have anything to do with the giver? Would the giver now alter because the society has changed?
Mm.
I don't know.
That's a good question.
I think we need our bishops back.
Yes, that's a good question. And we can also ask them. And you know what? I've never thought about it this way too. So I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea, because the way we were created is definitely not the way that is happening right now. But in saying that, you know, there's no Adam without Eve, and there's no Eve without Adam. We are both working together, you know, just switching the roles and taking someone else's role that is not innately in our nature. That's when imbalances happen. You know, that condition, I'll tell you about that condition. It's called uterine fibroids. Uterine fibroids comes because of that masculine woman. You know, you've taken in so much things to do, and you've not been supported by your masculine man. So you've not been supported by your father, you're not supported by your brother or your husband, and that's why you have uterine fibroids. And so every case of uterine fibroid, same story, same story, same story. And I go, okay, it's almost like someone comes with uterine fibroids, and I go, okay, well, you haven't not been supported with your father or brother or husband or boyfriend. And she goes, oh, how do you know? Well, I know because that's how it happens. Now there's so many other illnesses and diseases because we are not aligned to our nature somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is God going to bless us because of how the society is going and how we are, you know, acting and reacting and in response to things that are happening? That's a great question. We can ask that question next time to our bishops when they're, you know, with us.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think, do you want to talk about anything else, or would you like to call it a day?
Yeah, sure. I think I've asked the questions that were on my mind when it comes to, you know, Adam and Eve, and we definitely have got a bit of clarity with regards to, you know, what was in the beginning and where we are and how we got there.
Yes, that's true.
I think we really need a society that definitely puts in a lot of effort to address the issue of men, not masculinity, but men. If we compare how much resources are going into addressing the issues of women. We don't have equilibrium there, you know. So if we can equally look into how, you know, the resources that we put into the issues of men, and provide the support for men to be able to step up, I think that's going to be a very good thing. And I've not been listening to the debate that was going on between Morrison and Albanese, the electoral debates. I haven't been listening a lot. I should say I've been listening though, but I wasn't hearing about the support for men. I was rather hearing the support for women. There was a lot of conversation and debate on issues related to women, you know, and other societal issues, obviously with NDIS and so on. But the issues of men were not identified. So, you know, it's at times like this that makes you wonder how important are the issues of men on the electoral table, you know, on the electoral debate, if the societal issues that we have are as a result of the insignificance of our male counterparts at their rightful places.
I agree. That is so important. You know, well, if women's issues have been addressed, they are addressed, and I know that for sure. But you're right, men's issues, they're not on the table. Is it because men don't like to address their own issues, though?
Maybe that's where it comes from. I don't. Yeah, it's really sad, actually. It's very, very sad that we are not giving prominence to this very important issue as we do to women's issues. And no wonder everybody wants to become a woman. Honestly, no, it's true. I mean, I shouldn't say everybody, but I mean that's just what it is, you know. We have
You're
a
right.
society that is, you know, gravitating towards, you know, that wanting to become a woman, wanting to be soft and empathetic and, you know, compassionate and graceful, and it's good to have all those things, but we need you to still take your place as a man, you know, gracefully and as soft and you know, however you are.
That's a
So
very
yeah,
good
it's
point.
really sad.
Yes.
It.
But don't you imagine and think that in that scenario of the government, they will actually have, you know, that kind of support?
Well, I think the support is there. Obviously, there are instruments that does support men, that does you know, provide for their needs and all the other resources. There's probably a department in some ministry and so on. But if you can stand at a media conference and talk about what you are doing for women, how much money you are putting away so that women should get, you know, whatever recognition that they want and whatever support they want and all those. Men are equally suffering. There are men in domestic violence situations.
Yeah, I hear about things like that, but I don't necessarily hear it firsthand. So I would hear it from people that say like this, you know, now like you saying that. But I've never had a man tell me that I've been in that place or that position. Maybe because they don't like to speak about it. Maybe because it's not something that they can be proud of, that, you know, they have been in domestic violence and the woman is the one responsible. Makes them weak.
So I wanted to say, maybe we need to invite Morrison and Albanese on our show. Why not? We,
Oh,
we
yeah.
want to ask that question. What are you doing for the men?
Yeah,
What's
that's a
on the
good
table?
question.
What's in the budget for the men? You know, what plan do you have for them? They were talking about plans and policies and things. We want to see the policy for the men
Yeah,
because we've got
that
these
is
issues
true.
that we were talking about right now.
Mm, that's right. That is right. Yeah, that's a good question, actually. That's a good one. Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. I think we've raised few good, really good points now, Liz, and this is on the table of discussion whenever we can actually have someone that is a decision maker or someone high up in the government come and talk to us, and we can interview them. We can ask them these
Yeah,
questions because definitely there is room for improvement for these things that are actually an issue.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I agree with you. Together, we
Yeah.
have to enhance, the quality of life of our people and the society at large in all the spheres. And we are doing our little bit through, this talk show, and it will be good if we can continue to do what we do with the support of the people who are coming on board with us. So, yeah, definitely, let's keep going.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Liz. And thank you so much, our viewers. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week. Good night.